Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. There have been a number of reports about Marvel using Doctor Strange 3 as the final Marvel movie before Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty and adapting Time Runs Out from the comics, which was the final story leading into the more recent version of Marvel's Secret Wars, which we know they're doing for Avengers 6. So it all seems like it's coming together. There were a lot of theories about how Marvel was going to lead into Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Now we know some of those details. Marvel's making some changes to those storylines for Doctor Strange 3, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I'll be doing episodes for Loki Season 2 when it starts. Ahsoka is starting next week. I'll be doing episode videos for all that stuff. Recently, you probably saw in your feeds Cosmic Circus. Now a bunch of other websites are reporting Doctor Strange 3 is basically Marvel's Time Runs Out, as in time runs out for the multiverse. As the final incursions happen, the multiverse begins to collapse, the Council of Kangs come from the new Avengers, and according to the reports, Doctor Strange 3 picks up right after Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness post-credit scene where Clea comes to get Doctor Strange's help, claiming that he's caused another incursion in what looks like the Dark Dimension. Basically telling him he's coming to fix it with her, or she's going to kill him, like, we're fixing it, or else.
Unless you're afraid.
Not in the least.
They imply he's essentially going to be forced to save Dormammu's life by saving the Dark Dimension from complete destruction. How ironic, saving one of his worst enemies. Clea is from the Dark Dimension. I did a much bigger video about her after the movie came out a couple years ago, so I'll post that in the links below. Clea is the daughter of the former rulers of the Dark Dimension before Dormammu took over eons ago, so she also has bad history with Dormammu too. Within the MCU, one of the changes they're making for Time Runs Out is that Clea will have been sent by the MCU version of the Black Priest from Time Runs Out, who she's working with to stop the incursions. During the comic book version of that storyline, the Black Priests were one of the major factions trying to stop the incursions and ultimately stop the Beyonders. The Illuminati learned about the incursions, and separately Doctor Strange learned about the Black Priests and became their leader. Within the MCU, this is sort of meant to pay off that idea that Doctor Strange went it alone in the 838 universe, like Doctor Strange himself is one of the biggest threats to the entire multiverse. Basically the idea that different versions of Doctor Strange wind up making things worse, even though they're trying to save the multiverse. Within the MCU, the Black Priest base is meant to be kind of like the TVA in that it exists outside the main universes. Their base in Doctor Strange 3 is meant to exist in something called Nothing Space, which they're calling the area left by the destroyed universes after incursions are over, similar to what you see in Doctor Strange Supreme's universe in Multiverse of Madness. Kind of like an empty shell of a universe with leftover bits all over the place. We'll see other incursions actually happen teased in other Marvel movies before this. We're supposed to get some of that during the Marvels movie later this year, like an actual incursion where two universes start to collide with each other. But Doctor Strange 3 is supposed to be the movie where they do the longer explainer, like the PowerPoint tutorial that Doctor Strange will learn about the incursions in great detail and how they've destroyed the multiverse, clarifying that he did cause the most recent one, which Clea was talking about during that post-credit scene. You can also kind of blame Scarlet Witch for that too. They're saying that her use of the Darkhold chaos magic in combination with America Chavez's power and Doctor Strange's to breach different universes, also mind-walking the souls of the damned from the Hell Dimension like finger puppets, destabilized this part of reality, causing an incursion. So within the movie, Doctor Strange will be confronted with one of the main points of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that he himself is one of the greatest threats to the multiverse itself, even though he's trying to save everyone. The only greater threat to the multiverse, and this is sort of the stand-in for the MCU version of the Beyonders, will be the Council of Kangs in the new Kang Multiverse War 2.0, as teased in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Part of the idea is that they're sort of taking the place of the comic book Beyonders' role in Time Runs Out in the lead-up to Secret Wars. They kind of explained how the Kang Multiverse War was responsible for all these different incursions when He Who Remains told Loki and Sylvie about how he won the first version of the Multiverse War. Basically by finding Alioth and having him consume all the other timelines except his own. They didn't say that a Kang variant is going to be the main villain of Doctor Strange 3, but they'll probably at least feature one Kang to clarify what the Council of Kangs is doing and how this leads into Avengers 5. Probably a big post-credit scene like we saw during Thor Ragnarok with an Infinity War post-credit scene. There might be some more references to the comic book version of Time Runs Out. In the comics, there were several different factions all warring with each other the same way that they're doing in the MCU, just different people representing those organizations. Originally, it was Doctor Strange's Black Priests who ended up fighting the Black Swans, led by Doctor Doom, and the Ivory Kings, who were actually the Beyonders. Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange separately had no idea that the other was leading separate armies. Both of their groups were strategically destroying universes on purpose with the hope that it would stop the incursions, like a controlled burn of the multiverse to stop a larger fire from erasing everything. But at least initially, Doctor Strange's group was destroying universes that Doctor Doom's group was protecting, so they fought each other until they realized that they were both trying to accomplish the same goal and work together. Doctor Doom, in typical fashion, did the most Doctor Doom thing ever, tricking a multiverse team of Black Swans into worshipping him as a religious figure. You start to see some of the seeds of what he became when he turned into God Emperor Doom on Battleworld in Secret Wars. Really loves it when people worship him as a god. The real threat was from the Ivory Kings, who were actually the Beyonders, the ones responsible for the incursions in the first place. They were a group of extra-dimensional beings with almost limitless power, not bound by the normal laws of reality, that basically got tired of the multiverse and just wanted to wipe out all of reality. Supposedly, Avengers 6 Secret Wars is going to combine both different versions, different eras of Secret Wars, like the 1980s version and the more modern version. The Easter egg here for the 1980s version is that the Beyonder pulled a bunch of characters to Battleworld to compete for his entertainment. Marvel eventually retconned it so that that version of the Beyonder was actually just a baby version of the Beyonder's race that they wind up fighting in the more recent version of Secret Wars. Supposedly in the MCU, though, they're going to say that that Beyonder character is actually just another Kang variant with crazy levels of power, maybe the one that survived at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania that everyone thought died. This sort of gets into Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty in the lead up to Avengers 6 Secret Wars. Supposedly the idea is that the new Avengers that form and fight the Council of Kangs in Avengers 5 will not be able to defeat them, like they'll wind up getting their asses handed to them. It'll mostly be the MCU version of New Avengers characters, like characters you see in the Marvel movies so far. Then apparently what Kevin Feige is doing is sort of like a final send-off to the Marvel Fox characters, like all the legacy actors. This other Beyonder like Kang will come back and kill the Council of Kangs. Like, who can kill a Kang but another Kang? He'll be the one to create Battleworld, and there'll be a bunch of remnants of universes with these legacy Fox Marvel characters from different universes all left on this one planet. Doctor Strange is supposed to be a main character during both Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, like the rallying point that brings everyone together. So in Avengers 6, he has to go around assembling a multiverse team of all the greatest characters into a new Avengers. They'll be the ones to finally defeat this last Kang Beyonder character, and then they'll rebuild the multiverse, kind of like happened at the end of the newer version of Secret Wars. There have been a lot of rumors about Marvel using Secret Wars to soft reboot the universe, but the whole idea is that they'll try to retune things just a little bit to explain how a bunch of X-Men and mutants start popping up all over the place. They might recast some characters if they want to, not everybody, but maybe a couple people. Maybe retune the backstory of the universe a little bit so that it all makes a little more sense going forward. And because they're calling Marvel Phase 4, 5, and 6 the Multiverse Saga, the next big saga that they start in Marvel Phase 7 will be kind of like the Mutant Saga. Very X-Men focused saga, which is why they've been waiting so long to do really hardcore X-Men characters. Like Deadpool 3, we'll see a bunch of X-Men, but as part of a final send-off for a lot of the classic versions of the actors before they recast people with new versions in the MCU. Were it not for all the delays, like the pandemic delays and everything that's happened recently with the strikes, all those delays, we actually would have seen this on screen years and years ago. Kevin Feige teased a long time ago he's really keen to introduce a bunch of X-Men characters, but it's just sort of like a one thing right after the other, like he has to do a lot of stuff before he can do that. But you can see how they're slowly setting up all these big legacy actors coming back, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. That was what all those scenes in Spider-Man No Way Home were about. Like, oh, I really want to fight an alien. Hey, we should do this again sometime. Doing this again sometime in Secret Wars. There have been a lot of rumors about them also splitting Secret Wars into two different films. We'll see about that. I think it just depends on what happens in the next couple of years. We're still a couple years out from Secret Wars happening at all anyway. They'll start to set up what's going on during Loki Season 2 and then obviously Deadpool 3 in a much, much bigger way. There were a couple of Loki Season 2 trailer videos that I just did videos for, so I'll post links at the end of this and down in the description below, kind of explaining what's happening during that. They'll have their own plot, but in the background, the Kang Multiverse War, the Council of Kangs will also be doing their thing. The incursions will start to happen. Big reminder that Ahsoka episodes start next week. I'll post links for that down in the description below. Click here for all my brand new Loki trailer videos, and click here for my brand new Deadpool 3 videos. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.